Hi there, welcome to the Ecofina Financial Channel. My name is Philip, and as usual, I'll be talking something about the economy. Today, our focus will be on Nigeria's imports. We look at things around surrounding Nigeria's imports, the value, the countries involved, where Nigeria gets their imports from, what items they are, the ports, which is responsible for most of the import items, and yes, probably even the continents, which accounts for the highest level of imports. So if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so now. What we discuss is we talk about finance, we talk about investments, and we talk about the economy. So today, like I said earlier, our focus is purely on imports, and we'll be using the statistics released by the National Bureau of Statistics on the first quarter of 2022. That will be the basis of our analysis. So just to go straight into it, the value of imports for the first quarter of 2022 is 5.9 trillion naira. It's about 21% higher compared to the first quarter of 2021, although there's a slight decrease when compared to the fourth quarter of 2021. So if you look at exports, even though that's not our focus, just to see what the trade surplus is looking like, exports for the first quarter of 2022 is 7.1 trillion naira. What this means is that in the first quarter of 2022, Nigeria actually had a trade surplus, which is actually what is needed, especially for a country with such a high level of foreign exchange challenges. But that is it. For the first quarter, there was a trade surplus, 7.1 to 5.9. That's about 1.2 in terms of 1.2 trillion naira in trade surplus. So as regards the origin of Nigeria's imports, the first on the list, which is by far the highest, is China. China accounts for as much as 25.55% of all of Nigeria's imports in the first quarter of 2022. Netherlands is second with 10.49%. Belgium has 9.55%. India, 7.04%. And the United States with 5.72% make up the top 5 import origins. That's where Nigeria's imports come from. If you want to look at the top 10, Norway is 6th, France, South Korea, UK, and Brazil. Those are the countries that make up the top 10. If we now want to look at the import items by virtue of the standard international trade classification, you see that mineral fuels actually dominates Nigeria's imports. It stands at 1.9 trillion naira, which is about 32.34% of all of Nigeria's imports. Machinery and transport equipment is second with 1.6 trillion naira. That's about 28.05%. And then you have chemicals and traded products at 812 billion naira. That's about 13.78%. And if we now look at what agricultural products, when it comes to the value of agricultural products imported into Nigeria, then you see that that comes at 443 billion naira, which means that Nigeria still imports as much as 7.51% of its imports. Agricultural products still accounts for that. Remember, we're talking about the first quarter of 2022, but it is to a large extent a reflection of what Nigeria's import has been, at least over the past couple of quarters. So when we talk about the continent, of course, we already talked about China dominating the imports, and it's no surprise that Asia is where most of Nigeria's imports come from. They account for 43.3%. Europe is second with 42.3%. America is third with 10.25%. And then Africa, Nigeria's imports from Africa is just 2.59%. The truth is that that value might be understated because, you know, there's a lot of informal trade going on across countries, which might not really be accounted for in the statistics given. Of course, there's a lot of trade going between Nigeria and Benin, for instance. Nigeria and even Togo happening across borders, Chad, Cameroon, which might not actually be captured. But per the official statistics, 2.59% of Nigeria's imports comes from Africa. So just to narrow it down, because of course agriculture is of importance to Nigeria, and to see what are the agricultural products Nigeria actually imports, because it's always interesting to see. The first and probably the most important imports that Nigeria has is durum wheat. And Nigeria got a larger percentage of that from the US and Argentina in the first quarter of 2022. Previously, Russia had been the major country where Nigeria got durum wheat from. But given the current challenges, current circumstances surrounding Russia, the first quarter of this year, Nigeria's major imports for durum wheat came from the US and Argentina. And then we have crude palm oil, which Nigeria got from Malaysia and China majorly. But one thing that Nigeria is getting from Russia, even in the first quarter, is herrings. It's a type of fish, and Nigeria got that from Russia, even the first quarter of 2022. So those are the things that Nigeria imports. When it comes to the major ports, where Nigeria gets the imports from, is totally Apapa Port in Lagos. It's totally dominant, accounting for more than double every other, accounting for more than higher than every other port in Nigeria combined, accounted for about 3.5 trillion in imports alone. Don't forget that the total import value is 5.9 trillion, and Apapa alone accounted for 3.5 trillion naira. Now that shows clearly that the Apapa port is probably overstretched, because even if you look at the export value through that port, is even about double this figure for imports, which probably explains to many why there's so much traffic around Apapa. So that's it for imports. If there's anything in particular that you'd like to know, other things you'd like to know, please let us know in the comment section. We previously done a video on the exports from Nigeria, and that's the focus was on the fourth quarter of 2021. And if there's any other thing you'd like us to know, especially about trade, about Nigeria's trade surplus, trade balance, you can let us know in the comment section and we will address that. So that's it on this edition. We'll be back with you next time. See you then.